Hello everyone, this is part 27 of What If Naruto Had the Ultimate Dojutsu, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Azugakure village. Naruto huffed as he entered back into the village. He was so tired as he dragged the water sword with his left hand. He huffed before he came into the door where they were all staying. He opened the door, making it slid only to see the lights on while Fu and Kushina were in the room wide awake. They turned to him and gasped at the state of his dress. He was soaking wet from the seawater and rainwater outside. His clothes were in tears slightly before they turned to see the sword he was holding in his hands. Naruto-kun, what happened to you? Fu asked, getting up before she started to treat his wounds. Naruto rubbed the back of his head while Kushina stood to her feet. She had never been so worried when she found out that Naruto had disappeared. Sorry Fu-chan, I did some exploring, Naruto encoded, making the Nanabi Jinchuriki narrow her eyes. Kushina sighed before she looked at his sword. She noticed the intricate water design over it before she glared slightly. So you're saying that you jumped into the whirlpools for that sword, Kushina said, and Naruto gulped. He backed away slightly with a nod, but before he could move, he was smacked in the back of the head as he turned around to see a clone of Kushina behind him. The redhead dispelled the clone while she closed her eyes. You know that could have killed you. Why are you so stubborn? I told you we would try it tomorrow, Kushina scolded, and Naruto nodded as he rested the sword on the table of the room. He rested on the couch in his soaking clothes. Listen Ka-chan, I couldn't wait to take it. Something is with these swords and you know it. I can hear voices when I have them next to me, Naruto told her, and Kushina raised an eyebrow. Fu seemed confused as she wondered if Naruto was losing it, but stranger things have happened like the Bayou, so this was probably something. What do you mean you hear voices? Fu asked, and Naruto shifted uncomfortably in the couch as he placed his hands on his forehead. I hear some distorted message in my head. It's warning me of something. Something is coming to the elemental nations. I don't know what, but it sounds dangerous, so I couldn't wait to collect it, Naruto told her, and Kushina looked at the water sword. She glared at it slightly before she turned back to her son. Go get your other sword, Sochi, Kushina told him, and Naruto did so. He set the lightning sword down next to the water sword, and then there were the fire and wind swords. He placed them all on the table while Kushina examined them. They were all the same length, same weight and same type of metal, and yet they looked so different from each other. Each had its own special handle and scarab. She sighed while Fu spotted something. Hey, look at that, she said as she used her finger to point, and the two looked to where she was pointing before they squinted their eyes. There was an ancient symbol on all of them. Naruto and Kushina held up two swords in both their hands as the blonde seemed confused. That's weird. Those symbols weren't there before, the blonde said, and Kushina glared. She dropped them and Naruto did the same. Naruto, take me to the cryptanalysis team in Konoha when we get back. Assign me there for a little bit, Kushina said, and Naruto raised an eyebrow. What are you thinking? He asked, and Kushina sighed. She rubbed the back of her head before looking at Naruto seriously. If my hunch is right, then you're doing something will decide the fate of the world, Sochi, Kushina told him, making Naruto widen his eyes. Fu did the same before the redhead Uzumaki clapped her hands. But that's for another time. Come you two, let's go to sleep. I mean it this time, both of you, she said, making the two blush. Fu nodded and Naruto did the same at the thought of Kushina hearing them. They both forgot to put up a privacy seal for themselves. Soon everyone had gotten back to sleep as the lights turned out. They left the swords on the table before they glowed brightly. The swords gleamed in the room. This blonde. He's our master. You're kidding me, right? Someone said as all the swords gleamed even more brightly. The boy has potential. I've been with him for a long time, since he got me from that weapon shop. He really knows how to wield me, so I trust him as my master. Admit it that you were impressed with him when he got you from those whirlpools. Why would you do that anyway? Another voice asked while the other huffed. I was bored, all right. Being wedged at a damn rock for 600 years. How would you feel? The voice asked while another one, more feminine, spoke. Well, I agree with Rhaegar. The boy has more potential than my old master, Raymond. I thought I had found the one, but it seems that Rhaegar knows better, the feminine voice said while another sighed. Well, I admit that he's interesting. At least he's a powerful one. I must admit that I like him if Rhaegar does. He is the Hokage at that young age. For only 2 years, one of them said before the fire sword gleamed even more brightly than the others. That's enough. I will not tolerate you disrespecting him. He has begun to receive our message. Once he obtains the last, then we'll be able to give him our message. Until then, we stay silent, the voice commanded, and the others obeyed before they all faded on the table. No one in the house had heard their conversation nor what it would mean for Naruto later. Next morning, Kushina, Fu and Naruto sighed as they passed through the gates of Uzushiogakure. They all looked at the village before Naruto's eyes gleamed. He had an idea for this place. Technically it was still in a treaty with Konoha, so they could still go there if they wanted without any consequences. So is everyone packed up and ready to go? Naruto asked them, and the two girls nodded. The blonde grinned as he grabbed their waists. He closed his eyes and locked onto one of the seals on his house, and the three disappeared in the Hiraishin, leaving behind the Azugakure place. Uzumaki Namika's compound. Naruto, Kushina and Fu appeared in the compound and dropped to the ground, shocking Kyuubi and Nanabe, who were playing cards. The two Bayou women stood to their feet before walking over to the three. Hooray for a fancy entrance, Nanabe told them while Kyuubi wrapped her arm around her harem sister. Stop teasing them, Nanabe. Are you three all right? Kyuubi asked, and Naruto nodded as he cracked his back. Sure. Fit as a fiddle, he said, getting to his feet while Kushina did the same. Fu rubbed her end before she waved goodbye and walked towards her room. Naruto and Kushina sweet dropped while Yugito came down the stairs. What's all the noise about? She asked before seeing Naruto and Kushina in the room. The younger blonde waved to the older one and Yugito waved back. Sorry about that. Nothing too serious. Now if you ladies don't mind, I have some work to do. I'll do Yugito-chan's Fuinjutsu training later in the night, so be ready, Naruto said as he dispelled a clone. He rubbed his head as he remembered the Yang release training with Kyuubi, which didn't turn out too well, but he had managed to learn a bit of Kimimuro's Kekai Genkai. He also remembered Kyuubi's talk about him getting the eternal Mangekyou Sharingan. He narrowed his eyes at that information before he also noted that he'd been spending some time in doing wood release techniques. Which didn't seem that hard, but then again he could be wrong. Alright, I'll see you guys later, Naruto told them all as he Hiraishin-ed to the Hokage mansion. Meanwhile he left his 4 swords to Kushina, and the Uzumaki woman walked off with Kyuubi and Nanabe following her. Why are you two following me? She asked the Bayou, and they each turned to each other. Well, we know what you're going to do, so we're going to help you out, Nanabe said, and Kushina raised an eyebrow at them both. The two women smiled at her before they all walked off. Hokage mansion. Naruto appeared in the mansion while he saw his clone doing paperwork. The clone looked up and noticed the original staring at him. Boss, you're back, it said, and the blonde waved. He smiled as he patted the clone on the back, making it grin at him. Yeah, thanks for taking over. You can go now. I'll finish up here, Naruto told it, and the clone dispelled. He took in all the information from the clone and learned about the 3 deaths that happened in the Land of Fire. They had taken the bee to be examined by Shizune and the medical staff, so the blonde was still waiting on those. He already knew that Mai Terumi, the Mizukage of Kiri, was coming, and the preparations for her arrival were simply in place as they needed to be. There was nothing else going on other than the fact that Kurenai and her team came back. Kiba and Haku were still out along with Kimimuro and Tayuya. So with that, Naruto sat in his chair and started doing some paperwork. It was all the usual stuff of him signing for new supplies to the villages so they could set up shop around the village. He did sign some trade papers, but nothing seemed out of the ordinary before he noticed a knock at the door. Come in, the blonde said, and Shizune came through the door with a girl wearing glasses that the blonde hadn't seen before. He folded his arms while Shizune looked at Naruto. Naruto-kun, did you change your clothes? Shizune asked, and the blonde gulped. That's right, he was wearing different clothing than the clone. Damn it, that was a small detail he had overlooked. Yeah, I only left to go change. It was getting a bit too tight, Naruto told her, and Shizune accepted the answer while Naruto turned to the girl. So who are you? He asked, and the girl gulped as she bowed. Hello Hokage-sama, no I mean Naruto-sama. Oh wait, I'm sorry, I meant to say, she said while the blonde chuckled. He waved his hand at her as he placed the other on the table so it could support his head. Don't worry about the honorifics. So back to my question, the blonde said, and the girl nodded. Yes, sir. I have that book that you asked the cryptanalysis team to look at. My name is Shiho and I'm aspiring to be a cryptanalyst myself. Anyway, I'd like to talk with you about this book and my findings, she said, and Naruto nodded as he saw the memory from the clone telling her to investigate the book. He smiled with a nod as Shiho coughed in her hand before placing the book on the table. Alright, explain, Naruto told her, and Shiho did her best while Shizune listened. Yes sir. The book is originally from Kumo due to its contents, but I'm sure you knew that. Inside the book there talks of a battle by the sons of Kami over 5-element swords. No one has found any of them or if they are even real. Shiho paused while Naruto narrowed his eyes since that seemed to be very true. He was the only one who had found them, well besides Raymond or anyone else that he knew of, but he let her continue. Go on, he said, and Shiho nodded before continuing. Right sir, the battle says that this took place over 1,000 years ago, but there are no records to suggest such a thing. I cross-referenced them with some scrolls that were at least only 300 years old. They only told of the nature elements being out of control at some point in history. They were random attacks such as tidal waves, earthquakes, firestorms, lightning flashes, and hurricanes. These natural disasters happened at random and no one knew why. Some people traced them to the swords, but others figured it was Kami's vengeance over them. Sandstorms in Suna, firestorms in Konoha, tidal waves in Kiri, lightning flashes in Kumo, and earthquakes in Iwa. All these happened to the elemental nations, but that's not the weird part, Shiho said, and Naruto narrowed his eyes. That wasn't the weird part. Natural disasters were just that, they were natural, but this didn't sound natural at all to him. I might need Gaara and A's help on this one. I hope Kiri's Mei-chan will help me out also. Iwa hates Konoha since my father, and no doubt they know about me by now, so that'll be quite a pain to ask them for help, Naruto said mentally before he turned back to Shiho. Alright, so what's the weird part? He asked, wondering if he would regret that question. Shiho opened the book to a specific page and pointed to it. Naruto looked at it while Shiho began. This symbol. It sort of resembles the swirl on the back of Konoha's flak jackets, but has a square over it with a star in the middle. I tried looking for it, but none of our records hold it, at least not to my rank that I could get my hands on, but I at least know this. The star in the middle, in ancient times, meant of another worldly power or a power that can't be comprehended. I'm still investigating everything else, Shiho said, and Naruto nodded. The blonde rubbed the back of his head and sighed. Alright Shiho-san, thank you for that information. It really helps me out. I'll give you a C-rank mission pay for that. Also, my mother is going to go to the cryptanalysis department. She's going to be carrying 4 swords. Please take a look at them. You'll be quite shocked at them, Naruto told her, and Shiho nodded before she walked off with a slight bow. Naruto sighed as he slumped in his chair. A power that couldn't be comprehended. He didn't know whether to be happy or that or anxious at the thought of having them in his possession. Man, this is too weird, Naruto said as he snapped his fingers. An Anbu appeared next to him on one knee. Yes, Hokage-sama, he asked, and the blonde stood to his feet. Get Shizune and Kurenai-chan for me. Also please get Anko for me. I need all 3 of them, the blonde said, and the Anbu nodded as he left the room. The blonde sighed before he held up a piece of paper. He looked at it before smiling. It seems that Sum and Hana put it a request for the Inuzuka clan and the Uzumaki Namikaze clan to be one clan, which Naruto was happy about. He could just imagine running the clan with Kiba in the future. Oh, that would be quite some good fun. Speaking of the Inuzuka, Naruto wondered how Kiba and Haku were doing on their mission. With Kiba and Haku, the 2 Chunin were currently walking through a dense forest somewhere near Iwa before they came up to a staircase leading into the ground. Kiba narrowed his eyes while Haku looked at it. What do you make of it, Kiba-san? Haku asked, and Kiba growled, and so did Akamaru. The Inuzuka heir stood to his feet before he turned to Haku. It smells of snakes. It might be one of Orochimaru's bases. Think we should go back. We finished our mission with the bandits who weren't so damn tough though, Kiba said, and Haku put Zabu's guillotine sword on her back. I think you might be right. Plus it's not the same if Naruto-kun's with us, Haku said to him, making Kiba nod. He really missed hanging out with his buddy. Seeing the blonde so busy really was a letdown to the Inuzuka, but there wasn't much he could do about it. Soon the two dodged a kunai that came from the trees. They both gasped and readied their weapons before an Iwa nin came from the shadows. Well, if it isn't the Konoha trash. What are you doing here? A girl asked, making Kiba and Haku narrow their eyes at the newcomer. Unless I read the map wrong, then we're not in Iwa, so what does it matter to you? Kiba asked, and the girl fumed at them both. Shut up and talk before I kill you both. Now who are you? She asked while Haku readied her guillotine sword. It's better to give your name before asking for someone else's, she said, trying to be somewhat polite to the girl who growled. HMPH, fine, I'm Kuretsuki. Now then, who are you two? She asked before they looked at each other before nodding and looking back at the Iwa Chunin. I'm Kiba Inuzuka and this is my partner Haku Momoki, Kiba said, and Kuretsuki narrowed her eyes before withdrawing her kunai. Haku and Kiba did the same while she pointed to the staircase. What's this? She asked while Kiba and Haku looked at it. We don't know. We just got here all right. Kiba yelled, getting annoyed at this girl's behavior while Kuretsuki growled at him. Haku sighed as she rubbed the back of her head. Now she would have to play peacemaker between the two of them. Alright, that's enough, both of you. We all have work to do, so why don't we? Haku paused before they saw two people exit the trees. Kiba turned around and smiled. It was Kimimaro and Tayuya. Seeing the two Chunin, Kimimaro and Tayuya turned to each other before the latter put her hands on her hips. What are you two doing all the way out here? She asked while Kuretsuki looked at the two newcomers. The one with the foul mouth and the other who was strangely calm. Kimimaro-san, Tayuya-san. We're investigating, but got caught by this Iwa Chunin here, so we're all fighting about it. Namely Kiba and Kuretsuki-san there, Haku said while Kimimaro sighed. We're here to investigate one of Orochimaru's bases. It was a missing given to us by Naruto-sama. So if you'll excuse us, Kimimaro said as the two passed them. Haku and Kiba sweet dropped, but Kuretsuki got in front of them. Back off. We're doing the investigating here, so go back to your village, she said before Tayuya growled. Move your Yusak of S, she yelled, and Kuretsuki growled. Make me, you stupid tomato B, she said, and Tayuya growled back. The two glared at each other before they saw Kimimaro, Haku and Kiba walking down into the staircase. The two huffed before they followed everyone down into the base. Kimimaro, no offense, but you used to be with Orochimaru, so do you know this base? Kiba asked while Kimimaro shook his head. No, I don't. He had a lot of bases that I didn't know about. I only knew about a quarter of them, the bone user replied, making Kiba suck his teeth while everyone looked behind to see Tayuya laughing at a blushing Kuretsuki. You mean that blonde's old man kicked your old man's twice? Oh damn, that's priceless, she yelled while Kuretsuki huffed her annoyance at the redhead. After a bit more walking, everyone came into a large room that was lit up with lots of candles. Speaking of which, why the hell are you following us? Tayuya asked while Kuretsuki glared at her. This is Iwa's problem. I'm just observing. Don't think about it, she said while Tayuya stuck her tongue out before Kimimaro stopped everyone. They all looked at him in confusion before they saw someone at the end of the room. He had his arms folded with a grin on his face. Next to him was his dog that was lying on the ground. Kiba seethed like mad while his feral features started to show. Well, look at this. I'm trying to find Kabuto and I see all of you. Well, look at you, runt. You've grown up from the last time I saw you, the man said while Kiba moved from behind Kimimaro. He stared hard at his father with hate in his eyes. You. How dare you still breathe? Kiba said as his growled. Haku and the others wondered if Kiba knew the man while Tayuya and Kimimaro narrowed their eyes. They were staring at one of Orochimaru's most trusted men. He was just as important as Kabuto to Orochimaru. He was also much stronger than Kimimaro and Tayuya. Well, for you to talk back to your father like that. You might have some hair on your C, Kiba, Kobayashi said to him, making Haku and everyone else, but Kuretsuki widened their eyes. You haven't earned the right to be my dad. Kiba yelled as he ran at Kobayashi. His anger in full bloom for the man as Kobayashi smirked. Kiba, you idiot Stop, you can't beat him. Tayuya yelled while Ayaka stood to her feet as Kiba neared them. He and Akamaru growled at them both before the female dog smiled. Need help, Kobayashi-kun? Ayaka asked, but the older Inuzuka shook his head before she sat down. Nah, you take a break. I'm going to have some quality time with my son now, Kobayashi said as Kiba let out a punch. Go to hell, he yelled as his punch came just inches from Kobayashi's face before the old head to the Inuzuka ducked under it like it was nothing. He smirked while Kiba gasped only for the Inuzuka air to get S in the stomach making him cough. Nice speed, but a little slow for my taste brat, Kobayashi as Kiba dropped to the floor. Akamaru jumped to Kobayashi before he was swatted away and hit a pillar. Kiba lowly growled while he turned to his father looking at him with pure hate in his eyes. Kobayashi smirked while he turned to Kiba. Don't give me that look, brat. I'll take it as a challenge, he said before Kiba got to his feet and backed away. He swiftly moved to the side as Akamaru got to his feet. Then challenge this, Kiba yelled as he jumped in the air, and so did Akamaru as the two spun violently towards the older Inuzuka. Gatsuga, Kiba yelled as they neared him, but they immediately S into each other as Kobayashi jumped in the air. He chuckled at his son before he backflipped and put his hands in his pockets. Not bad, son. You've got my tenacity, but you're still a pup, nothing more. Now get out of my face. You're an eyesore, Kobayashi said as he S Kiba in the face, sending the young Inuzuka sliding back to his friends. Kiba coughed while Haku gasped and knelt down. Kiba-san, are you alright? Haku asked before she started to heal him. Kiba groaned while Tayuya face-palmed herself. Idiot, I told you not to fight him. You know how strong he is. Damn it, to meet him here, Tayuya said while Kimimaro stepped onto the field. Kobayashi turned to him and smiled. Well, when I heard of your betrayal I was shocked to say the least. You were close to being Orochimaru-sama's number 3 in trust, but then you and her threw it away. What a waste, he said making Kimimaro glare at him. Think what you want. It doesn't matter to me. For the first time I know that I'm doing something right, Kimimaro said making Kobayashi roll his eyes. Kiba growled as he got to his feet. Am I missing something? Who is that guy? Kuretsuki asked while Tayuya narrowed her eyes. He's Kobayashi Inuzuka. He's the most ferocious man in the bases after Orochimaru. He's their number 3 in terms of strength, Tayuya said as she took out her flute. Kuretsuki cursed her luck of being with the group while Kobayashi noticed the Konoha headband around Kimimaro's waist. So you joined Konoha. How nice that you could do that. Tell me, do you know of a blonde brat called Naruto? I'd like to kick his A, Kobayashi said making Kimimaro narrow his eyes, and so did Kiba, Haku and Tayuya. What do you want with Naruto? Tayuya asked using the blonde's name for the first time while Kobayashi smiled. Nothing really. I'd just like to teach him about trying to take my ex-wife, Kobayashi said before Kiba stumbled to his feet. You're just a damn A for a father. Naruto's the perfect mate for Ka-chan. She's happy with him, which is a lot more than I could ever say for you, Kiba said while Kobayashi frowned. His hair shadowed his eyes while Ayaka stood to her feet. She puffed, showing her slender form to Kiba before she kissed Kobayashi's cheek. HMPH, she's nothing like me, I tell you, Ayaka said making Kiba growl while Kobayashi moved forward. Speaking of which, how's Hana doing? She's still a good little girl? Kobayashi asked before Kiba clawed at the ground. Kuretsuki narrowed her eyes at what the Inuzuka could mean by that while Akamaru jumped on Kiba's head. Damn you. Inuzuka-ru, Jinju Konbi Henge, Sotaro, Inuzuka technique, human beast combination transformation, two-headed wolf, Kiba yelled as smoke enveloped the two. Kobayashi narrowed his eyes while everyone jumped back. They all gasped at the giant two-headed wolf next to them. Kuretsuki widened her eyes while Haku did the same. Kimimaro backed away from Kiba and Tayuya did the same while the wolf growled making whistle. I haven't seen that in a while. It brings back memories, right, Ayaka? Kobayashi asked, and the dog woman nodded with a smile. That's right, Kobayashi-kun. So now do you need my help? She asked, and Kobayashi rubbed the back of his head. He sighed as he closed his eyes. Not really, but you can if you want. I feel like letting loose, he said as his curse mark came from his N. It quickly swirled through his body, coming across his face while Kiba growled. To sink so low. You're a disgrace to the Inuzuka. Garuga, Kiba yelled as he and Akamaru swirled violently at Kobayashi. He and Ayaka smiled to each other before they jumped in the air. Kiba growled while Kimimaro narrowed his eyes. Tayuya, Haku, cover me. I'm going to help Kiba now, Kimimaro said, charging after them to assist Kiba in the attack. Meanwhile, Kurotsuki was watching and decided to help also in the fight. Kobayashi backflipped away from Kiba before smiling. He closed his eyes while Kiba growled at him. Stop dodging and take it like a man, Kiba yelled as he charged him again. Kobayashi smiled with a nod as he willingly let his son hit him as the Inuzuka was drilled into the wall, making it explode. Kiba and Akamaru bounced back, huffed at him as they saw the destruction. Kimimaro narrowed his eyes and so did Kurotsuki. Kobayashi emerged unhurt by the attack, but he looked different. His roar echoed through the room before a dark hand grabbed the wall. Oh, you made him go that far. How nice, Ayaka said before they all heard a severe roar. Everyone gasped as they wondered how bad this was going to be. Back with Naruto, Kurenai, Shizune, and Anko stood before their Hokage as Naruto got to his feet. Shizune, Kurenai-chan, Anko-chan, I have some news for you three. We're going to be going into the archives today, Naruto told them, making the three raise their eyebrows. For what, Gaki? I mean Naruto-kun? Anko asked and the blonde smiled. He walked past them before turning around. Secret ladies. I'll tell you more before we get there. Now let's get going, Naruto said with his hand up, making the others follow him, but Naruto stopped them first. But before that, Anko, show me your N, Naruto told her, and Anko hesitated. She frowned while Naruto glared at her. That's an order, Naruto told her, and the purple-haired Jonin sighed as she took off her trench coat. She showed her N and Naruto eyed the curse seal. He smiled before he backed away. Anko, how much do you love Konoha? Naruto asked, and Anko raised an eyebrow at the question. Enough to S for it, she said, and Naruto nodded. He placed Anko on the ground before he closed his eyes. That's good, but nobody in this village is going to have Orochimaru's mark. Understood. The blonde asked, and Anko widened her eyes. Kurenai and Shizune gulped, but the snake mistress nodded while Naruto opened his eyes to show his Sharingan. It felt so good. It was a lot more different as there was no strain like last time. He concentrated on Anko's seal and glared hard. Amaterasu, Naruto yelled as the black fire slowly ran over Anko's skin. The snake mistress cursed some pain, but she grinned and decided to bear it. Shizune and Kurenai watched as Naruto's fire erased the seal over Anko's skin, making them widen their eyes. Soon it was gone and Naruto stopped the flames. He sighed and smiled. There, now you're completely a part of Konoha, Naruto said, making Anko widen her eyes. She looked back to see her seal gone from her N. She felt all presence of Orochimaru gone before she looked at Naruto in awe. The blonde smiled calmly at her before Anko jumped to her feet and hugged him. You erased it. It's gone. It's finally gone, Anko said happily before she turned to Kurenai, showing her best friend her N. Look, Nai-chan. It's gone. It's really gone. It's no genjutsu, Anko yelled out, making Kurenai smile. She turned to see Naruto smiling and shook her head. That's great, Anko, the genjutsu mistress said as Naruto got up and dusted himself off. Alright, we can be happy later, but now we've got to go and look through those papers, Naruto told them, and the three girls nodded as they all walked off. Uzumaki Namika's compound. Yugito sighed in boredom as there wasn't anything to do. Her lessons with Naruto wouldn't start till later. Kasumi was training with Fu out in the yard, so that was already being done. Yugito watched the two going at it before they turned to her. What the matter, Yugito-san? Fu asked, and the blonde lowered her gaze in a bored expression. Nothing, just bored I guess, she said to them while Kasumi smiled. Then train with us. I think I could keep up with you two at the same time, Kasumi said, making the two Jinchuriki narrow their eyes at her. Don't get ahead of yourself, Fu told her harem sis with a small grin. Kasumi chuckled at her before she shrugged her shoulders. What, I wouldn't lose to both of you thanks to my training with Kyubi-sama, Kasumi said, and Yugito hopped to her feet. You'd better be prepared to back up those words, she said, and Kasumi smiled before she saw Fu take out a scroll along with a pen. The Nanabe Jinchuriki grinned madly while Yugito got into a small fighting stance. Kasumi sweet dropped at them both before she lightly backed away. Maybe you two need to calm down now, she said while the two Jinchuriki inched closer to her. What happened to all that talk? They asked, and Kasumi rubbed the back of her head, but soon she yelled as she fell through the ground. Fu and Yugito widened their eyes before they looked down the hole. They saw it was completely dark before Fu called. Kasumi, are you alright? Fu asked, making it echoed before Kasumi responded. No, I sat on my tail. Man, that hurt, she yelled while Yugito and Fu sweet dropped. Whoa, that is the deepest hole I've ever seen in my life. I wonder where it goes, Nibi said, and Yugito wondered about it also. Soon Fu dropped through the ground and followed Kasumi, but then Yugito followed her. The two Jinchuriki slipped through the ground before they ended up at some small cavern. Fu helped Kasumi to her feet and the dog girl sighed with a thanks. Yugito looked up at the giant hole at the time and sighed. They obviously weren't going back that way. Great, how do we get out of here? Yugito asked while Kasumi sniffed the air. Hey, there's water going that way. We should follow it. Come on, she said as she ran off. Fu and Yugito followed the dog girl towards the location. With Kushina, Kyubi, and Nanabe. The Uzumaki and two Bayu walked into the cryptanalysis department and looked around. It was messy to say the least, but they ignored it, or at least two of them did. Geez, what's with this place? You'd think they'd be neater than this, Nanabe said as the three ladies turned to see a man and girl coming out. Damn it, Shiho, don't you ever learn? He asked, and the girl bowed. I'm sorry, sir. I'm really sorry, she said before turning to see Kyubi, Nanabe and Kushina sweet dropping at her. Excuse me. Can I help you? She asked, and Kushina nodded, holding the four swords in front of Shiho. Yeah, I believe that Hokage-sama sent me here to be a small part of the cryptanalysis team for these swords. Kushina asked, and Shiho nodded. She saw the three staring at her and smiled. That's my case. Boss, we've got extras from Hokage-sama who are helping me with the book, Shiho said before the man stepped out. He looked at the beautiful-looking women before he blushed and coughed into his hand. Yes, well, since it's from Hokage-sama, then I will allow it. Since you will be working with Shiho, I will show you a station. It's small, but I hope you can all get used to it in no time, he said to the women, making them nod as they followed him. The place was quite large in terms of being called small, but it suited them all just fine. Kyubi and Nanabe each took a side of the room while Kushina placed the swords on the table. Shiho adjusted her glasses before smiling. Would you be so kind as to tell me all that you know up to this point? Kushina asked, and Shiho nodded. She coughed one more time and sighed. All right, I'll tell you the same thing that I told Hokage-sama. That the book told of a fierce battle between the sons of Kami. They were each given a sword and master over one element of nature, but looking to collect them all they fought each other and the swords were scattered. The swords might as well be a myth or legend. The oldest scroll we have that comes close to it was from 300 years ago that told of natural disasters that took place in each of the elemental nations. Then there is this symbol, Shiho explained, pointing Kushina, Kyubi and Nanabe towards the picture of the swirl symbol with the square over it and the star in the middle of it. I researched, and a star back in those times meant to be called another worldly power, or a power that couldn't be comprehended. That's all I know for right now, Shiho said, but Kyubi stared at the star. No, that's incorrect. Well, it's correct in the way you're saying it, but the meaning is wrong. To figure this out, you can't look into a book, rather you must abandon that way of thinking. Something like this is no capable of a human being's level of thought, Kyubi said, making Kushina look at the Bayu in awe while Shiho did the same. Please explain, I don't understand, Shiho said, and Kyubi nodded. Well then please get Shikaku-san for me. He'll be able to tell it better in your words than in mine, Kyubi told her, and Shiho nodded. She quickly left the room, and in about a half an hour she brought back a groaning Shikaku. The girls told him the explanation, and the Nara rubbed the back of his head with a sigh. He nodded that he would help the best he could, even if it was still his day off thanks to Naruto. So bothersome, but I'll help. Alright, you told me all you know about these swords and this book, so continue to explain please, miss. Shikaku stretched and Kyubi smiled. Canary, she said, and Shikaku nodded. Please continue to explain, Miss Canary, Shikaku said, and Kyubi did so. She straightened her voice slightly before beginning to speak. Very well, now as I was saying. The star in the middle can mean what you say. It can mean another worldly power, but like I said, try and think back too. When was this published, or who wrote it? Kyubi asked, but Shiho shook her shoulders. I don't know. There's no author's name. I'm sorry, Shiho apologized while Kyubi sweet dropped with a small sigh escaping from her lips. The Bayou nodded and closed her eyes. Forget it then. Let's see, based on the authenticity and the lack of a better look. I'll place it at 600 to 400 years ago. Remember, this was found in Kumo, so it must have been in that area. The nations weren't even formed at that time. In fact, quite a bit of society wasn't around, but anyway. Try and place your thoughts to 600 years ago and try to think of what a star could mean, Kyubi said, making Shiho close her eyes. Shikaku did the same as did Kushina, but Nanabe made the point. It's the light that shines in the darkness next to the moon, Nanabe answered, and Shiho nodded along with Shikaku, but the latter looked at it more in depth. That's true. If this was back in the day, then you would consider stars to be the most amazing thing to see in the night sky next to the moon, but this must date back before the Rikido Sennin, the man who brought ninjutsu to the world, Shikaku said, and Nanabe nodded. You're forgetting that humans aren't gods. He might have created ninjutsu for humans, but that doesn't mean that we were the first ones to ever use it, Nanabe responded, and Shiho laughed. What? Are you saying that the gods could do ninjutsu? She asked with a laugh, and the not-so-funny joke making Nanabe glare. That wasn't a joke, and yes, I do believe that. There are lots of things about this world that we don't understand just yet. So keep that in perspective, the green-haired woman said, making Shiho apologize. I'm alright, so the star is about shining in the darkness. So what would the swirl be? Shikaku asked, and Kushina looked at it. It resembles the one from Azushiogakur and the swirl on the back of your flak jackets. Let's see, swirls could mean lots of things, Kushina said, and Kyubi agreed while Nanabe rubbed the back of her head. Shiho and Shikaku looked at the swirl symbol before the former took out a piece of paper and wrote on it. Alright, for the first part, the star resembles something that shines in the dark. Hey, what are those swords? Shiho asked, and Kushina held up one. Naruto thinks that these are those swords, Kushina said, and Shiho dropped her paper before she grabbed one. She wasn't a sword type of person, so she was confused. Why is that? She asked, and Kushina turned to Kyubi and Nanabe. Tell me, Kanari and Nana, by any chance can swords be sentient? Kushina asked, making Shiho stifle a laugh, but Shikaku remained serious. Kyubi and Nanabe glanced at each other before they turned back to Kushina. Well, we wouldn't know if they could or not, but given the way that this book describes them, then it's possible that they might be sentient. What are you getting at? Nanabe asked, and Kushina stared at the swords. Well, last night Sochi told me that when he gets these swords he hears voices and they warn him of danger. Naruto's not paranoid, neither is he insane, you know that. So is it possible? Kushina asked, and Kyubi leaned close to her. You think the swords are trying to communicate with him? She asked, whispering, and Kushina nodded. She sighed, then told Nanabe. The three sighed and placed their fingers on their chins. Hey, what's this? Shiho asked, bringing everyone to her attention. What is it? Nanabe asked, and Shiho lifted the sword up. Look at this. There is a small hilt for an object. What do you think? She asked, and Kushina rubbed her temples. Who knows? This is too weird, let's go and continue. We'll look this over in the archives. They should be able to let me and Shikaku-san in, Kushina said as she walked off with the others following her. With Fu, Kasumi and Yugito. The three were still in the cavern and cursed their luck before they saw a small light. Kasumi sighed as she ran with Fu and Yugito running after her. I hope this is the way out of here, Kasumi said with a smile as they came to an opening. It wasn't an exit, but the sight made her gasp. She stood in awe of the place while Fu and Yugito came up behind her huffing. What's wrong? Fu asked with a small huff, but she could only see Kasumi point and her eyes followed the hand sign until she stared in awe of the place. What are these? Yugito asked, and Fu looked the place over. It was filled with crystals of a clear substance. They were made in all sizes and diamond-shaped. They're crystals, but nothing like you'd normally see, Fu said while Kasumi's eyes gleamed. They're every woman's dream, she said, making the two sweet drop before they looked back at it. How long do you think they've been here? Yugito asked as she saw a small waterfall flowing down throughout the caverns. Who knows? All I know is that I sure as hell want one, Fu said while Yugito turned to her. When did you start to curse? She asked while Fu rolled her eyes. Please, that's nothing, but I won't bore you with that, Fu said as she tried to take one out, but it was heavy and didn't budge at all. Fu cursed under her breath before she sighed. I take it neither of you can break diamond, can you? She asked, and Yugito folded her arms. What makes you think it's diamond? She asked, and Fu blushed as she rubbed the back of her head in slight embarrassment. A girl can dream, can't she? The Nanabi Jinchuriki asked while everyone else sighed. Kasumi was doing some leg stretches before she backed up a bit. You might want to back up a bit, Kasumi said as Fu and Yugito gave her some space. The black-haired girl stretched some more before she sighed. She took a small stance and charged at the precious stone. She launched a kick and yelled. Okaita Sora Handu, fallen sky kick, Kasumi yelled as she s the rock with her foot, causing a loud impact. Fu and Yugito covered their eyes from some dust that picked up. Soon it settled, making the two Jinchuriki open their eyes. They looked to see Kasumi over a fallen piece of stone with a smile on her face. What force! I've never seen anything like that, Fu said, and Kasumi tapped her left foot on the ground. Looks like the results from my training with Kyubi-sama are starting to show, she said as she had just made her latest taijutsu move known. Well, I'll seal this, then we can go. We'd better tell Naruto-kun about this. This place might be important later, Fu said to them, and the girls could nod in agreement with that. None of them had an idea of how important those crystals would be to Naruto later in the future. Somewhere in one of Orochimaru's bases. Kabuto, where is Kobayashi? It's time for him to test the drug, Orochimaru said, and Kabuto nodded with a small sigh. He went to your base near Iwa. Said that he would be back in a few days, Orochimaru-sama, Kabuto said while Zetsu leaned against the wall. You still haven't told us what this thing even does. So are you going to or not? He asked while Orochimaru snickered to his partner. Kakuku, patience. It has taken months to understand the possible side effects. Either one of two things will happen. 1. The body will immediately, or it will crumble, and a perfect chance to test, don't you think? He asked, and Zetsu rolled his eyes. Why Pain-sama needs you'll never know. Count me in on that too, the black Zetsu said in though while Orochimaru snickered madly again. Just wait, Sasuke-kun. Once you see this power you will know how strong I can make you, then you will be mine once and for all, Orochimaru mentally cackled while Kabuto handed his master the greenish vial for Kobayashi to use when it was time for him to return. Speaking of Kobayashi. With Kobayashi, Kiba, Kuretsuki, Kimimaro, Haku and Tayuya were on the ground panting and huffing as Kobayashi erased his curse seal from his face. The look of horror was on all of their faces. Kobayashi snickered at them while Ayaka came up to him. Was that curse stage 2 really necessary? Look at him, she said while Kobayashi scratched her ears. I expected more from my son, but I guess being raised by Sume does that to someone, Kobayashi said while Kiba balled his fists. The curse stage, it was so different from what they Gai-Saken had. Kobayashi's curse mark was unparalleled in power. It was so weird and evil. Oh, it looks like he still has some fight inside him. That's it, pup, Kobayashi said as Kiba got to his feet. He huffed like mad. They had all been fighting and no one, but Kimimaro and Tayuya managed to get a few hits, but that did nothing to him. He wasn't even using Ayaka in the fight yet. It pissed Kiba off that he was being taken so lightly. He glared at his father while Akamaru stood to his feet. Akamaru, are you with me? Kiba asked, and Akamaru nodded as the Inuzuka went into his pouch. He took a soldier pill and gave one to Akamaru. The white-haired dog's fur turned from white to red while Kiba's features grew more aggressive. Everyone, I want you to clear out of here. This will drain my chakra, but I can tear him apart with this, Kiba said, and everyone nodded as they shunshined out of sight. Kuretsuki stayed behind and balled her fists. She felt so weak to be getting beaten like this, and now she was running while a Konoha shinobi did the hard work. Damn, what a blow to her pride. The Iwanin left, also leaving only Kiba, Akamaru, Kobayashi and Ayaka in the room. Well son, show me what you've got, Kobayashi said, and Kiba closed his eyes. Akamaru jumped on his head while the Inuzuka smiled. I have you to thank again for this, Naruto, even if it's experimental. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Kiba yelled as he made 6 clones of himself and Akamaru. Kobayashi raised an eyebrow before clapping. Wow, you know a kinjutsu. Not bad, but that won't be enough to stop me, Kobayashi said, and Kiba snickered. That's what you think. Inuzuka-ru, Jinju Konbi Henge, Sotaro, Kiba yelled, and immediately they all puffed out in smoke, making Kobayashi cover his eyes before he slightly widened them to see 6 two-headed wolves looking at him with ki in their eyes. I'll you to S with this. Taju Garurega, multiple wolf fang thunder fangs, all the Kibas yelled as they all spun violently around the base, not caring what they destroyed so long as they took out Kobayashi. The entire place was getting S to pieces and Kobayashi narrowed his eyes. Not bad. That would actually hurt. Hell, it might kill me if I were right in the middle of it. Outstanding brat, but Kobayashi said as he and Ayaka nodded to each other. They quickly charged inside and what happened no one knew. Outside, everyone watched in awe of the destroyed base that they were looking at as the Kibas charged out of the ground. They all went into a frenzy on Kobayashi and Ayaka, making them awe at him. Kiba had such a technique. Haku asked while Tayuya grinned. That S is quite impressive, she said while Kimimaro looked up in angst. Kuretsuki watched Kiba fight and gasped at his power before the Inuzuka S to the ground. He skidded back while he and Akamaru cursed. Their clones dispelled while Kobayashi landed on the ground. Phew, that was close. Got scared there for a second. Yeah, right. You're too easy to figure out. Not to mention you are out of control, Kobayashi said as he grabbed Kiba's shoulder. Everyone was too injured to get up and help. They all cursed as Kobayashi smiled. Well son, any last words? Kobayashi asked while Kiba growled. He spit on Kobayashi's cheek, making his father chuckle. Arrogant till the end, huh? Well fine then, the former mate of Sume said as he pulled his fist back. No. Naruto-kun, please, you need to help please. Haku yelled out mentally as she made her chakra soar for a distress beacon to Naruto from the seal formula for the Hiraishin. They shouldn't S like this. Konoha. Naruto laughed as he walked with Kurenai, Anko and Shizune. Soon he stopped where he felt the immediate chakra spike of one of his seals. He closed his eyes and gasped. Haku-chan's in danger, Naruto said, making the three girls gasp before the blonde vanished in the Hiraishin. They all widened their eyes as they watched Naruto leave to help his family. Border near Iwa. Kobayashi smiled as he sent his punch at Kiba, making the Inuzuka close his eyes. Everyone gasped before they all immediately saw a small trickle of lightning as they stared in shock of Naruto appearing behind Kobayashi. Haku gasped with a smile on her face, as did Tayuya and Kimimaro, while Kuretsuki expressed shock and awe. Ayaka widened her eyes at the new arrival, and in a second Naruto took in the situation. He saw Kobayashi with Kiba at the collar ready to end his best friend, making the blonde growl as he held out his hand. A blue sphere appeared while Naruto glared at Kobayashi. Put him down. Rasengan, Naruto yelled as he s the ball into Kobayashi, who was surprised before he was sent flying into some trees, making a loud explosion. Kiba dropped to the ground before he casted a gaze at Naruto. Hey man, you've seen better days, Naruto told him, and Kiba chuckled. Shut up, I had it under control, he said with a painful smile, and Naruto rolled his eyes. Sure you did, the blonde said before Kobayashi appeared. He looked at the blonde and Naruto looked back at him. They both glared at each other while Ayaka growled before rushing at Naruto. She tried to bite him, but the blonde merely sidestepped her and kicked her away from himself towards the side of Kobayashi. Not bad at all, the Inuzuka head said before Naruto narrowed his eyes. He remembered that face from the bingo book. The man he absolutely hated at the moment. Kobayashi Inuzuka, right? Naruto asked with a hardened glare while the Inuzuka noted the blonde hair. The brat who's now Sume's mate. How nice. Today is my lucky day after all, Kobayashi said, and Naruto closed his eyes. He turned to see Kiba unconscious while he looked at his family and some girl he didn't know fully injured. They all looked like hell. Did you do this? Naruto asked with his hair covering his eyes, and Kobayashi smiled. So what if I did? What are you going to do? He asked, and Naruto sighed. He balled his fists before chuckling. It's my lucky day also. I get to kick your A for the hell you put Sume-chan, Kiba and Hana-chan through. I'll make you pay right now, Naruto said to him, and Kobayashi chuckled at him. A shorty like you. What can you do? He asked, laughing before he felt the ki in the air get thick as he gazed into Naruto's eyes. Gone was the blue ocean eyes, as in their place was something different. In Naruto's left eye stood his eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, blazing in intensity, and in his right eye stood his Shinseinigan, in a calm, icy cold manner. Kobayashi growled while Haku pulled Kiba to the side. Kimimaro, Tayuya and Kuretsuki struggled to the side also as Haku tended to everyone's wounds. They all watched as Naruto went through some hand signs. He gripped his right hand, making it cackle as Kobayashi took his favorite fighting stance. See this Chidori. It's going right through your heart today. Naruto yelled, making the chirping of the Chidori even louder while Kobayashi chuckled. Bring it on, brat. I've always wanted to KO you. Kobayashi yelled as the two charged each other as their yells roared over the plains. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.